it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, August 2nd. So the moon is in Taurus for the waking hours, the very early waking hours of the day before transiting into Gemini energy. The moon in Taurus will go void, of course, around 4:41 a.m. and lock into Gemini energy at 5:46 a.m., again, Atlantic Standard Time. So let me just tell you, when the moon moves out of Tauran energy, very down to earth, very rooted in the physical experience, in our physical bodies, in our physical form, in that earthy energy, making us very logical and practical, and then moving into this very high vibratory air energy of the mental plane in Gemini, you best believe that we feel the shift. Now, this isn't a bad shift by any means, because things have gotten a little bit heavy. They've gotten a little bit weighted. We've been kind of trying to keep to ourselves, but the moon in Gemini really busts us out of that framework. We want to be social. We want to explore ideas. We want to be chatty and share ideas and collaborate with other people. We're very curious when the moon is in Gemini. So this is going to be an interesting pick-me-up to what has been some very physically heavy weighted energy. So the moon, while still in Tauran energy, is going to be making a couple of aspects throughout the day before shifting into Gemini energy. There are 9 different cosmic aspects taking place here today. 7 of them involve the moon, and we are still in the releasing stage of manifesting. So the moon in Taurus goes ahead and bumps into Chiron, and this is really going to illuminate for us something that we were struggling with towards the end of the day yesterday, which is our insecurity and our extreme sensitivity to sharing our thoughts and feelings with other people, with speaking out, with communicating and expressing ourselves fully. So we went to bed last night kind of in the mood to transform some of our past emotional situations and baggage into something more positive, where we're kind of amping ourselves up to be able to open ourselves up more freely, to express ourselves with more confidence and clarity, but we're not quite there yet. This is going to illuminate for us where it is that we kind of feel that it is better for us to keep our thoughts and feelings to ourselves. Again, really pouring into past situations where we spoke up, we spoke out, we weren't heard, we weren't validated, we were rejected. In some case, we were abandoned altogether. Now, does that feel good? Absolutely not, but it is absolutely necessary in order for us to go very low, sit in those low vibrational frequencies and emotions so that we can build ourselves back up in a better way. The moon goes ahead and bumps into the sun, which is going to provide us with a huge aha moment, illuminating for us that you can't want a different life and continue to do the same old, same old. This is illuminating for us the old patterns and behaviors that we're currently sitting in, that we're trying to justify ourselves to continue to sit in because it's safe. Because nobody can hurt our feelings if we don't share them. Because nobody can reject our ideas if we keep them to ourselves. But in this moment, we also realize that we're preventing ourselves from growing. We're preventing ourselves from moving forward. We're preventing the whole evolvement that we are here to do. So the sun in Leo is illuminating for us where these old patterns, these old habits have to die, where we have to grow past the point of being insecure and vulnerable, of sharing our thoughts and feelings with other people, where we have to grow past the point of caring whether or not we are rejected or abandoned or just not validated when we go ahead and express ourselves. Now, is that easy to do? No, we're human. We want to be accepted. We want to be heard. We want to be validated. But at this particular point in time, how are we supposed to move forward if we're just setting up camp and sitting in the same old, which is a downfall for that Tauran energy? Just in this moment, though, the sun goes ahead and opposes Saturn. So the sun in Leo wants to illuminate where we need to be bold, where we need to be brave, where we need to take a risk, where we need to go after what it is that our heart wants. And of course, sitting across the table, listening to the Lord of Karma himself, retrograde in Aquarius, is going to highlight for us where it is that we're a little bit, negative Nancy. We're going to kind of fall into our depression just for a moment. We're going to question our self-worth. We're going to question our relationships, our values. We are going to question whether or not we are actually bold and brave and courageous enough to go out there and put our heart first, to follow what it is that we're passionate about, what it is that we currently desire, or whether we should play it safe and stay small. Saturn again kind of loops us through this narrative that we are so tired of hearing at this point. But because of our emotional state right now, it's very easy for us to, again, move into the darkness, move into those low vibes. Again, this week is all about us, evolving. And just when the cosmos sees us kind of enlightening ourselves, those darker force energies kick in order to paralyze us and keep us in a state of looping, rigid, negative cycles that just beat us down and make us not even brave enough to make a change. And this is what Saturn is here to do, is to really drive it home on where it is that you shouldn't take that risk, where you should keep quiet, where you shouldn't put yourself out there. Again, pouring into all of the struggles that we've been experiencing for the last couple of days, really not helping us at this point. Lucky for us, though, the moon in Taurus goes ahead and bumps into Mercury in Leo. This is where we have an aha moment. This is where we recognize that, Saturn has done nothing but talk garbage to us. We're better than this. We can dig deep and find courage and find bravery in order to, speak up and to speak out. And this is going to provide us a beautiful opportunity if we should so want to take it, because again, it all comes down to choice, to have a heart to heart, especially with some of the personal relationships that we've been trying to avoid having this conversation with. Now, this could be a breakthrough moment in some of these troublesome type of relationships at this time. And let me just say this, if you're not in a situation where you need to have this conversation outside of yourself with someone else, then maybe you're being asked to have a heart to heart with yourself. Maybe you're being asked to align with your higher self and let your soul speak instead of letting your ego, the fears and the insecurities ride this narrative all the way home. Regardless, there's like this breaking point between our heart and our head where we recognize the division that we have not only allowed to take place inside of us, but that we've been encouraging ourselves to stay small and to stay quiet. And this is kind of a buildup on where it is that we have to change. We have to make a shift. Why? Because we recognize that, we don't want to stay the same. We do want change. We do want to evolve. We do want to grow. So that is going to require us to act in a different way. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Jupiter, really emphasizing where it is we want more for ourselves, where it is that we deserve more, where we want more happiness, where we want more stability, where we want more healing to take place in our lives. But let me throw caution to you. The state that we're in right now is a little bit extra. We could actually push ourselves so far into wanting more for ourselves that we get sad about all that we do not have. It could go either way. And I'm just telling you, we have that timeline split. We're about to jump, whole huge timelines and integrate those timelines with the Lionsgate portal. So you best believe that there is an inner division, an inner choice that we have one path over the other in every single cosmic aspect that we're going to actually experience this week. So there could come this, huge desire and ignite our passion to actually be different because we do want more and we want to move forward and we want to take risks and we want to make moves so that we end up in a different reality. Or we could be illuminated to all the more, quote unquote, that we want, and have a realization that, well, we don't have it now. Now, let me throw another caution to you. When the moon is in Taurus, we tend to indulge in creature comforts, more specifically food. We have been struggling with food, with cravings, with just a bottomless pit in our stomachs for a long time now, especially in Cancer season. Things got intense where we were just stuffing food in our face just for the attempt to ground and to center and to wait ourselves out. Now, with the moon in Taurus, squaring Jupiter, which just, amplifies whatever emotion that we're in and turns up the volume on whatever it is that we're thinking and feeling, we could want to eat our feelings away if we're not brave enough to actually stand up and accept them and do something about them. If we want to retreat, we want to escape the emotions and the thoughts that we're feeling, we could definitely turn to food and just overindulge in food. Now, that being said, I'm using food as the primary example here, but it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be whatever it is that you use to escape your emotions from. So we want to just be very careful here that we're not overdoing the escape artist type of, I don't even know what to call it, obsession, I guess, if you will. We want to make sure that we're not throwing ourselves so far into trying to fill the emotional void that we're unable to solve at this point. And we definitely don't want to do that with harmful acts like overeating, overindulging, and of course, drugs and alcohol. Now, lucky for us, the moon shifts into Gemini at this point, getting us out of this heavy energy, out of this weighted energy, out of this, just all heavy emotional vibrations. And now we're kind of lightening the mood a little bit. But I'm going to give you a warning. The moon in Gemini squares Mars in Virgo. Now, fun little fact here. Virgo energy and Gemini energy are both ruled over by Mercury, the mental plane. Now, the moon in Gemini squaring, which is a tension point, Mars in Virgo, this isn't going to feel that nice. It's going to feel very moody, very triggered, likely going to turn the volume up in our mental plane, ripping ourselves apart. This is where the self-judgment comes in, where the self-criticism comes in, where emotionally we're not stable. Again, we're more in the mental plane at this particular point. And as we've been talking about, Mars in Virgo, not its ideal placement, because realistically, we can only act or take action on making things happen when we've thought about it for long enough. It makes logical and practical sense. And it's a calculated and strategic move in the great, grander master plan of what it is that we're trying to accomplish. And so there's not a whole lot of moves being made at this particular time. And the moon in Gemini just is asking a million questions. I often kind of refer to that Gemini energy as a curious toddler who asks why to everything. Well, why? Well, why? Well, why does it do this? Why does it do that? That is that Gemini energy. That curiosity is piqued. And Mars and Virgo can't even do anything to help answer these questions right now because we haven't thought about it. It doesn't work into our master plan here. And so we're just highly irritable. We just want the questions to stop. We want to stop thinking. We just want, we want to take action, but we're not being gifted with the green light to go ahead and do so. So the moon in Gemini goes ahead and bumps into Neptune. And suddenly we have an aha moment. We recognize where it is that our intuition needs to come into play. Now, it's interesting because up until this point, we haven't really been thinking about our spirit, our soul, our intuition. We've been focused on practical and logical, physical matters, if you will. But the moon in Gemini has a lot of questions that we can't get answers from in our physical realm right now. Why? Because our physical realms are not mirroring to us the path in which we are following right now. Again, on a spiritual level, we know we're jumping into something new. It just hasn't started yet. We know we're opening a brand new cycle. It just hasn't begun yet. We know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We just can't physically see it with our physical eyes yet. So we're kind of having to tap into our intuition, our gut, our spiritual and higher self at this point for answers, for guidance, for insight, because we're sure as hell not getting it from our physical realm. So the moon in Gemini ends up coming up to conjunct the true node. As you know, the true node is in Gemini, has been for the past year, will continue to be until we shift those nodal axis. And right now, the true node is trying to rewrite our inner narrative, rewrite our past scenarios and situations, because a lot of the reasons of why we're not able to move forward and move as fast forward as we would like is because we're still hung up on the past. So the moon in Gemini is going to be great for this because the Gemini energy is the mental plane, is information, is, definitely details, but the moon is our emotional state. So it's almost like our heart and our head are working together with the moon in Gemini and coming up to and bumping into the true node, asking us to get our shit together so that we can end up to where it is that our soul needs us to be in a futuristic path. The true node is saying, oh, hey, okay, so you're on the mental level that I need you to be on in order to think in a different way. I want you to dive into your emotions from the past situations and past scenarios that you felt fear, that you felt vulnerabilities, that you felt like you needed to play small. And I need you to kind of focus in on where you felt rejected, where you felt abandoned, where you felt invalidated. And I need you to rewrite the script of that past so that you're not bringing that crap, that perspective, that energy into the future, or else otherwise you're not going to grow. You're not going to end up to where it is that your soul needs you to be. You have to look back and reflect and rewrite and reprocess before we can go ahead and move forward. So the moon in Gemini, totally down with this because again, it's a mental game, right? Geminis love the mental game. And because the moon is the heart space, we're able to tap into the mental plane, reflect, revisit, reprocess old memories, old situations, and rewrite the script so that it has an immediate impact on our emotions, on our heart space. In that moment, Mercury, again, the ruler over the moon in Gemini, Mercury, again, where the true node is currently positioned in Gemini as well, huge pull over the true node in Gemini. Mercury in Leo trines Chiron. This is fire on fire. Chiron is retrograde in Aries. This is exposing our inner warrior because we know what we have to do to heal ourselves. And Mercury in Leo, being big, being bold, being brave, being courageous, being that heart-led, passionate lion that Leo energy wants us to be, is blending its energies with Chiron, the wounded healer. And this is really going to have a huge impact on healing our mental plane, especially because the moon in Gemini bumping into the true node was just asked to revisit the past, to reflect all of those situations where insecurities and vulnerabilities and invalidation kept us playing small and prevented us from truly expressing ourselves fully. And now Mercury in Leo, trining Chiron, retrograde in Aries, is saying, hey, oh my goodness, we just healed a particular perspective that we had. We just healed a past memory. We just rewrote the script. And intuitively, we just figured out what our mental blocks were, what has been preventing us from moving forward. This is beautiful because Mercury is all about logic, right? Like the mental plane is linear. We all want to think logically and practically. We want to have a plan. We want it all to make sense. And because Chiron is the wounded healer, there's a profound understanding on how our past has molded us into the present version of ourselves. It is an aha moment like no other, shifting not only the mental plane, but the heart space in freeing us from old attachments, old patterns, old behaviors, old ideas, freeing us up to follow the new path that we know that we are being called to follow because we feel it in our gut, we feel it in our soul. And this aha moment of healing literally provides us with a clean slate in our mental planes to now kind of align more to that beautiful, proud, brave, courageous lion than that little tiny kitty that is afraid to make that little meow and not be heard. So I feel like, I know we're only, 2 days into this week, but I feel like because we're in the releasing stage of manifesting and building towards this Lion's Gate and building towards this new moon in Leo, building under this intensity of recognizing that when we take one step forward to enlightenment, that the dark forces want to pull us 2 steps back. I feel like at this particular point in the calendar, as of right now, we just slayed the darker forces that were trying to keep our mental plane repeating narratives from the past. Why? Because that keeps us from literally standing in our power. That prevents us from moving forward. That prevents us from evolving. And those darker forces want us to stay the same, want us to stay in ego, want us to stay in the pain of the emotional drama that our narratives have constantly been looping under. So I think we can chalk up Monday to a very successful day by day's end, because we are going to feel that very dramatic shift in our mental plane that, of course, is going to trickle down and shift our heart space.